Good morning, everyone. It is David Matlock with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties. Today, I am going to be going over the Bibb County sales data for the Georgia Association of Realtors. I'm just going to go over for a little bit for single-family housing. I have Housing County and Monroe County, which I'll probably make in another video, but for now, we're just going to go over Bibb County because that's what I cover most. If anyone's interested in the other counties like Crawford, Peach, Henry County, I go all the way up to McDonough, so just leave a comment saying that you're interested in that. But for now, we're just going to go over Bibb County. So it's no secret that 2024 and 2023 were not ideal housing markets because one, prices were high, but also we have the lowest number of sales volume since 1995. And that is when the population was much bigger back in 1990. So 30 years ago? My math is not good. 30 years ago, we had the same number of home sales when we had, I believe it's like 20% less of the population. I mean, that's terrible. I guess not terrible. That's just like the new norm. Like now, houses are still expensive and less people are buying and selling. One, because, if you find something good, like why would you want to sell? I think a lot of that is from COVID when everyone's getting those good rates, but also it's just so expensive right now to find something. Unless, there's always the ability to find something, but in terms of back in 1995 to now, it's definitely just not as easy. So Bibb County, we're going to go ahead and just dive into this. So I'm going to be looking at new listings, pending sales, closed sales, days on market until sale, median sales price, average sales price, percent of list price received, inventory of homes for sale, and then month supply of inventory. Just know this data is not perfect. A lot of times these new construction builders will only list one or two properties in the MLS when they actually have a catalog of many, many more houses that they are building or that are available. And then also there are a lot of off-market home sales that happen. So we do not have a complete and flawless data set here. So anyone who tells you that they know everything that's happening in the real estate market is just not true. But this is probably as good of a look as we're going to get because this is just taking all the data from realtors in Georgia that share their information with their home sales. So let's just hop right into it. New listings, February of 2024. And then new listings in February of 2025. At this time last year, we had 185 new listings. This year, we have 209 new listings. So that's a 13% change. Since the data we have, that's not like, if we were looking at, probably on a larger scale, like thousands, that would be a very concerning trend. But since we're only looking at a couple hundred, the variations are not going to be as significant here. So it's a 13% change, like 13% more new listings this year. So that tells me, not crazy, like not panic time, but okay, a little bit more people are listing their homes for sale. Like we don't know what's the price range. Are these more investment properties? Are these more like, middle income, middle class houses coming for sale? Are these more upper class houses like $500,000 plus houses that are coming for sale? So we don't know that, but we do know there's more houses being listed this year. Pending sales in 2024, 120 February 2024 at this time. February 2025, we had 98. So that's an 18% difference. That's somewhat significant to me. I mean, that's 20 less pending home sales that we have this year compared to last year. So the one, that's telling me there's more stuff coming for sale, and two, that's telling me, there's a little bit less buyer activity going on. What price point that activity is happening at, we don't know. Closed sales in 2024, February of 2024, we're looking at 105. In February of 2025, we're looking at 74. Okay. And this, I believe this is just for the month of February, this last year compared to this year. So it's not necessarily kind of a complete data set, but if we look at the year to dates, they start kind of having some similarities. Closed sales, it was 105 last year versus 74 this year. That is a 30% decrease. That's definitely, I think that's significant. A 30% decrease. I mean, 30% for anything is going to be a noticeable difference. So that's telling me more houses for sale, less buyer activity with the lower pending sales, and then closed sales is telling me, maybe fewer people are getting to the closing table. Maybe they're not really qualified for that loan that they thought they were qualified for, or people are backing out. Days on market until sale. Last year in February, we were looking at 47 days days on market until the sale versus February 2025, 59 days. It's not super significant in the sense that we all have to be in panic mode or anything, but it's going to take a little bit longer for your house to sell. In what price range is it taking longer? We don't know. I have had listings in the mid twos, the like 175s to like mid to high twos sell in under a month. And I've had sub $100,000 listings take months to sell, even expire without a sale this year. And last year, not this year. I don't think I've had any expires this year. But the idea is, what price point are we seeing this paint at? Okay, median sales price in February of 2024 is $156,000 versus median sales price February of 2025 $194,500. That's a 25% difference. That's definitely significant. I would pay attention to that. So you're telling me that of all the home sales, the one smack dab in the middle last year was 156. Of all the home sales this year, like this month of this year, the one smack dab in the middle is 194.5. So that's telling me that one, either we're having a lot more home sales of a lot more expensive houses, or we're having a lot less home sales of less expensive houses. So because somewhere that middle is getting moved, okay? And I think that's significant. The average sales price for 2024, February last year was $169,944. So $169,000 versus $204,401 this year. So $204,000. So $169 versus $204. That's a 20% difference. I think that's pretty significant. So I think that would say we're seeing more movement, at least relatively more movement in the higher price point of the market. Percent of list price received. This is basically just saying if you list your house for $100,000, what in last year, February of 2024, it was 96.3. This year, February 2025, it's 96.4. There's no difference. So that's basically saying if you list your house for $100,000, you're getting a little over $96,000 for it. So if you're selling, you still have a decent negotiation position. Like it's not, you listed for 200 and expecting someone to lowball you by about 20,000. Like you have the ability to deny that if you price your house well. Obviously, if you're pricing it, if you're pricing it ridiculous, then no one can help you there. That there's no difference from last year, so everything's relatively the same. So if things continue though, where we're having more homes get listed and less homes getting bought, you would start to see that number start to change a little bit this year. Because if there's more stuff available, supply and demand, people are going to pay less for it. Inventory of homes for sale. This is pretty important. 436 in 2024 versus 513 in 2025. Okay, that is definitely significant. That's 17.7%, but that's definitely, that difference in numbers, I'm thinking that's pretty significant. If there's, that's close to like 80 new listings for sale, not including, again, sometimes new construction builders or have their own catalogs and they're keeping those things off of the MLS. They only have like one home being listed on the MLS, like basically saying like, hey, this style of home is available and we have like 3 or 4 others of these. So really you might be able to compound that a little bit. Like there might be even more than 17% difference. But Bibb County doesn't really have as much new construction as like Houston County, but that is significant. So we are seeing more houses on the market. And then month supply of inventory. This is pretty important. So month supply of inventory is this calculation they make to say, okay, how many, is basically just saying like how many houses are for sale and, in a relative sense. I don't know how to explain the math. It's kind of, I always think it's a little a little wonky because you can't really get exact numbers for what's available, but it's saying last year was 3.8 months supply of inventory versus 4.5 months supply of inventory. So that's somewhat significant. That's an 18% change. So now that means 4 months is a pretty like normal housing market. So last year we were not necessarily, we were kind of close to normal, not really normal. I mean, if you're looking at the COVID years, you're looking at like 2 months inventory. You know, that's a seller's market. So now we're entering into more, you know, buyer and seller having a little bit more parity, like it being a little bit more equal. So if you like this video, if you think this is helpful for you, if you are thinking about selling your home or you're thinking about buying and this was helpful, please comment. Give me some feedback on what you think. If you want me to answer some more topics, just let me know. I'm just looking for things to generate some content around. So please like, please subscribe, please share this video, and please let me know if there's anything else that you think is really important for you to know. And again, this has been David Matlock with Berkshire Hathaway, and I'd be more than happy to sell your house.